64 floors above the city, twin boys chase a butterfly toward the edge of everything. Zara Williams is refilling champagne glasses at the rooftop charity gala, invisible in her black uniform, when she sees what no one else notices. Mason and Miles Blackwood, 5 years old and fearless, climbing through the decorative railing bars. Their father, tech CEO Ethan Blackwood, stands across the terrace, accepting condolences on the second anniversary of his wife's death. Unaware his sons are seconds from falling into the void. Zara doesn't think, she moves. Crystal glasses shatter against marble as she lunges forward. Mason is already through the railing, tiny fingers gripping the outer bar legs, kicking at empty air. Miles reaches for his brother and slips. Zara throws herself against the railing, catching Mason's wrist with her left hand just as Miles falls. She stretches impossibly far, her body half over the edge, and grasps Miles's shirt collar as he plummets past the bar. 64 stories of nothing yawn beneath them. Her shoulders scream. Her grip is slipping. The boys' combined weight threatens to pull her over the edge. "Help!" Someone finally screams behind her, but Zara doesn't wait. Using every ounce of strength from years of lifting patients and working double shifts, she hauls Mason up first, his small body scraping against the railing as she drags him to safety. Miles dangles from her right hand, his eyes wide with terror. "Don't look down, baby," she whispers. "Look at me." With a grunt that echoes across the suddenly silent terrace, she pulls Miles up and over, collapsing to her knees, with both boys clutched against her chest. They're alive. They're breathing. They're safe. That's when she hears the sound of a man's voice, broken with terror. "Mason, Miles." Ethan Blackwood crashes through the crowd, dropping to his knees beside them. His hands shake as he reaches for his sons, his eyes never leaving Zara's face. The boys cling to her, their small bodies trembling but alive. Alive because this woman in service uniform risked everything without hesitation. "You saved them," Ethan whispers, his voice cracking as he tries to process what just happened. "You saved my boys." Zara looks up at him, adrenaline still coursing through her veins, her arms aching from the impossible weight she carried. Around them the crowd buzzes with shocked murmurs, phones capturing the aftermath of a miracle. But all she sees are two frightened children, and their father's eyes filled with a gratitude so deep it threatens to drown them both. "They're okay," she says simply because that's all that matters. They're going to be okay. By morning, the video is viral. "Mystery hero saves billionaire's twins," headlines across every news outlet. Security footage shows Zara's impossible rescue in stark detail, her body stretched over the void, defying physics and fear to pull two children back from certain death. But Zara is already at her second job, night shift, at General Hospital, caring for patients while finishing her nursing degree. She ignores the calls from reporters, the interview requests flooding her voicemail. She doesn't want to be famous. She just wants to survive. At home in their small apartment, her grandmother Rosa watches the news with tears in her eyes. "Mija, you could have died." "But I didn't, abuela," and neither did they. Rosa reaches for Zara's bruised hands, her fingers tracing the rope burns on her granddaughter's palms. "That man owes you everything." Zara shakes her head, wincing as she flexes her sore shoulders. "He doesn't owe me anything. Those boys deserve to live. That's all that matters." Across the city, Ethan can't sleep, can't eat, can't stop watching the video of a woman he barely glimpsed saving his entire world. Frame by frame, he studies her face, the fierce determination, the split-second decision that changed everything. "Find her," he tells his security team. "I need to thank her properly." But Zara Williams has no social media, no public records, no digital footprint. She's a ghost in the system, working cash jobs and staying invisible by necessity, not choice. When they finally locate her through hospital employment records, Ethan stares at her file in disbelief. Student loans, medical bills for her grandmother, multiple part-time jobs just to keep their heads above water. She risked everything to save his sons, and she has almost nothing. The irony cuts deep. Ethan finds her at the hospital during her night shift. He waits in the family waiting room until 3 a.m., ignoring his security team's protests about safety protocols and sleep schedules. When Zara emerges from the pediatric ward, exhausted after a 12-hour shift, she stops short at seeing him. Mr. Blackwood, what are you? Is everything okay? The boys, they're fine, thanks to you. He stands suddenly, uncertain how to begin. I've been trying to find you for 3 days. You didn't need to find me. Yes, I did. His voice is firm, leaving no room for argument. Can we talk? Please. In the hospital cafeteria, over terrible coffee, at 3:30 a.m., he tries to express what her actions meant. She listens quietly, her hands wrapped around the warm cup, steam rising between them like a barrier. I want to do something for you, he finally says. Pay off your loans, your grandmother's medical bills, anything. No, her voice is gentle but final. I didn't save them for money. Then why? Zara looks directly at him, and for a moment he sees past the exhaustion to something fierce and uncompromising. Because they're children, because they deserve to live, because any decent person would have done the same thing. Not everyone would have risked their life. Then not everyone is decent. The simplicity of her moral code leaves him speechless. This woman who has so little gave everything without hesitation, while he, with all his wealth and resources, stood frozen when his children needed him most. They ask about you every day, he says quietly. The lady who caught us, the angel lady. Despite herself, Zara smiles. Angel lady, would you consider meeting them? They drew you pictures. They want to say thank you. Zara hesitates. Getting involved with the Blackwood family means stepping into a world where she doesn't belong, where her presence might be misunderstood or unwelcome. Just once, Ethan adds quietly, reading her uncertainty. They need to see you're real. Saturday afternoon at Riverside Park. Mason and Miles launch themselves at Zara the moment they see her. Their small arms wrapping around her legs with the unfiltered affection only children possess. You're taller than we thought, Miles announces, tilting his head back to look up at her. And your hair is so pretty, Mason adds, reaching up to touch the curls she's left loose today. They present her with a crayon drawings of a woman in a black dress with enormous arms holding 2 small boys above a city skyline. That's you saving us, Mason explains seriously. You're the strongest lady in the world. As the boys pull her toward the playground, chattering about swings and slides and the ducks they want to feed. Ethan follows, watching the woman who saved his children, with something deeper than gratitude stirring in his chest. She's not just brave, she's kind, patient, real. For the first time in 2 years, he's not thinking about death. He's thinking about life, about possibility, about the woman who caught his sons, and might, if he's very careful and very lucky, catch his heart. It starts innocently. Saturday afternoons at the park become a regular thing. Ethan tells himself it's for the boys. They need this need, her steadying presence in their lives. But he knows he's lying. He looks forward to these afternoons more than anything else in his carefully structured week. Watching Zara push the boys on swings, teaching them to build sandcastles that won't collapse, listening to their endless chatter with genuine interest rather than polite patience. Tell us about your work, Miles demands one Saturday, curled against Zara's side on a bench while Mason builds elaborate dirt mountains nearby. I help sick people feel better, she explains simply, her arm automatically circling the boy's small frame. Like a superhero, like a nurse, which is better than a superhero because it's real. Ethan finds himself studying her face as she talks, the way her eyes light up when she speaks about her patients, the gentle authority in her voice when she redirects the boys' more dangerous impulses, the easy way she handles their endless questions about everything from why the sky is blue to whether dinosaurs could swim. She's beautiful, but more than that. She's substantial, grounded, real in a way that makes his polished world feel suddenly hollow. After the boys tire themselves out on the playground equipment, Ethan walks Zara to her car, an ancient Honda, held together by hope duct tape and what appears to be sheer force of will. You don't have to do this every week, she says, fishing for her keys in a bag that's seen better years. I know. The boys will be fine without. Will you? The question escapes before he can stop it. Zara looks at him, surprised by the raw honesty in his voice. Will I what? Be fine, without us. The vulnerability in his question catches her off guard. She's spent years building walls, staying invisible, protecting herself from the disappointment that comes from wanting things she can't have. But standing here in the afternoon sunlight with this man who looks at her like she matters, not just for what she did, but for who she is, those walls feel suddenly fragile. I don't know, she admits quietly. 3 weeks later, Ethan asks her to dinner. Not with the boys, just them. Zara almost says no. She's seen the articles about him. Billionaire widower, most eligible bachelor, part of a social world she can't even imagine accessing, let alone belonging to. I'm not looking for charity, she says carefully. Neither am I. I'm looking for company. Your company. The restaurant is elegant but not intimidating. He's chosen carefully somewhere beautiful but not so formal as to make her feel out of place or underdressed. Over perfectly prepared salmon and wine that costs more than her monthly grocery budget, she learns about his wife Sarah's death, a drunk driver, instantaneous, no chance to say goodbye. The guilt he carries for not being there. His terror of losing the boys, too. He learns about her grandmother Rosa, who raised Zara after her parents died in a car accident when she was 12. The sacrifices they've both made, the dreams deferred but never abandoned. You're going to be an incredible nurse, he says, watching her face as she talks about her upcoming graduation. I already am one. Just waiting for the paperwork to make it official. When he walks her to her car, they stand in the parking lot, longer than necessary, neither wanting the evening to end, both aware they're crossing lines that can't be uncrossed. Zara, he says finally, I don't want to complicate your life. Too late for that. Is it? She looks up at him, seeing not the billionaire CEO from magazine covers, but the father who holds his boys too tight, the man who's afraid to hope for happiness again. Yes, she says softly, but maybe that's okay. The confrontation comes at Mason and Miles's 6th birthday party. Ethan insisted Zara be there not as help, but as a guest wearing a dress instead of a uniform, sitting at the family table instead of serving from it. Victoria Sterling, Sarah's sister and unofficial gatekeeper of the family's social standing, corners Zara by the champagne table while the boys play pin the tail on the donkey. So you're the famous lifesaver? I'm Zara Williams. Yes, I know who you are. What I don't know is what you think you're doing. Victoria's smile is sharp as glass, beautiful and cutting. Ethan is vulnerable right now. Those boys have been through enough disruption. I would never hurt them. Intentionally. Perhaps not. But what happens when this little infatuation ends? When he realizes you're from completely different worlds. Other guests are starting to notice the tension, conversations quieting as they sense conflict brewing beneath the party's cheerful surface. Zara keeps her voice level, professional. The boys are lucky to have someone who cares about them. They have family who cares. Real family. Not some opportunist playing hero. The word hits like a slap. Zara has been called worse endured judgment from people who saw only her uniform or her zip code, but never in front of people she started to care about. Before she can respond, Ethan appears at her side. Victoria! His voice is ice wrapped in silk. Is there a problem? Just getting to know Zara better. Good. Then you know how extraordinary she is. He takes Zara's elbow, gently protective, but not possessive. The boys are looking for you. Something about cutting the cake. As they walk away, Zara feels the weight of stares, whispered conversations starting behind them like small fires. I don't belong here, she murmurs. Yes, you do. His voice is firm, brooking no argument. You belong wherever I am. That night, Zara lies awake thinking about Victoria's words. Different worlds. Opportunist. Playing hero. By morning, she's convinced herself Victoria is right. She starts pulling back. Shorter visits. Polite but distant conversation. Deflecting Ethan's invitations with excuses about work and school. The boys notice first. Why doesn't Zara hug us anymore? Miles asks, his 5-year-old confusion, heartbreaking. Did we do something wrong? Mason's eyes fill with tears. Ethan realizes what's happening when Zara misses their Saturday park visit without explanation. He finds her at the hospital, determined to understand what changed. Talk to me, he says, cornering her during her break. What happened? Nothing happened. I just think maybe this has gone far enough. According to who, Victoria? Zara's silence confirms his suspicion. She had no right. She had every right. She's their family, and she's not wrong about us being from different worlds. So what will build a bridge? Ethan, her voice breaks slightly. I'm a nursing student who lives paycheck to paycheck. You're you. This was always going to end, only if you let it. The call comes during Zara's nursing final exam. Rosa collapsed. Massive stroke. Emergency surgery at the same hospital where Zara works. She sits in the ICU waiting room, still in her scrubs, watching her grandmother's chest rise and fall with mechanical precision. The woman who raised her, who sacrificed everything so Zara could have a future, lies motionless behind glass and machines. The doctor's words echo extensive damage, uncertain outcome, prepare for the worst. Zara has never felt more alone. That's when Ethan arrives with the boys. How did you... Your supervisor called. You listed me as emergency contact. She had, when she barely remembers filling out the forms, but apparently in some moment of vulnerability, she'd written his name. You didn't have to come. Yes, we did. Miles climbs into her lap without invitation. Grandma Rosa is sick, right? Mason joins them on the uncomfortable chair. We brought her flowers. Dad said sick people like flowers. For the next 18 hours, they don't leave. Ethan handles insurance paperwork with quiet efficiency, brings food. Zara won't eat, sits in silence when she needs quiet. The boys color pictures for Rosa, tell Zara stories to distract her from the monitors, and tubes fall asleep across the waiting room chairs in impossible positions. You should take them home, Zara says around midnight, watching Mason sleep with his head on Miles's shoulder. We're not going anywhere. Ethan, we're family, Zara. This is what family does. The words break something inside her. All her careful walls, all her protective distance crumbles in the face of simple, steadfast love. When Rosa finally wakes up 3 days later, confused but alive, her first words are, "Where's my granddaughter?" "Right here, abuela." Rosa's eyes focus on Ethan and the boys crowding around the hospital bed. And who are these handsome men? This is Ethan, Zara says carefully, and Mason and Miles. Rosa studies Ethan with sharp eyes that miss nothing. Ah, the one who loves my Zara. Abuela. But Rosa isn't finished. You love her, yes. Ethan looks directly at Rosa, then at Zara. Yes, ma'am, very much. Good. She needs someone who sees her worth. Zara's eyes fill with tears. Not from embarrassment, but from recognition. She does deserve love. She deserves this love. And maybe finally she's brave enough to accept it. 6 months later, Ethan brings Zara back to the rooftop where everything began. The space has been transformed, not for a party, but for them. Soft lights strung between pillars, the boys' artwork displayed like gallery pieces, photos of their life together over the past year, mounted on easels around the terrace. Remember this place? He asks, taking her hand as they step out into the evening air. How could I forget? The city spreads below them, 64 floors of lights and life, but Zara no longer sees the drop. She sees the view, beautiful, expansive, full of possibility. Mason and Miles appear from behind a column dressed in tiny suits that make them look impossibly grown up, carrying a banner they made, "Will you be our mom forever?" Zara's hands fly to her mouth as understanding dawns. They have something to ask you, Ethan says, dropping to one knee on the exact spot where she once risked everything. The boys flank him, each producing a small velvet box with the seriousness of children entrusted with something precious. We know you already saved us once. Mason begins, his 5-year-old voice steady and sure. But we want you to save us forever. Miles continues, opening his box to reveal a delicate bracelet. Ethan opens the third box, revealing a simple, perfect ring that catches the city lights. Zara Williams, you've been rescuing us every day since the moment we met. You've made us a family when we thought we'd never be whole again. Will you marry me? Will you be their mother? Will you let us spend the rest of our lives making sure you know how precious you are? Through her tears, Zara sees their faces. The man who learned to love again. The boys who've become her heart. The family she never dared dream she could have. Yes, she whispers, then louder. Yes. The boys tackle her in a group hug that nearly sends them all tumbling, their joy infectious and complete. Careful, Ethan laughs, steadying them all. We're still on a rooftop, but this time they're holding each other up. As he slides the ring onto her finger, Zara looks around at the space where her life changed forever, where she learned that sometimes the biggest risks lead to the greatest rewards. I love you. She tells him the words feeling both new and inevitable. I love you too, he replies. All of us do. The boys cheer, and somewhere in the distance the city hums with 8 million other love stories, but none as perfect as theirs. 1 year later, Zara Blackwood RN pins her nursing badge to her scrubs and kisses her husband goodbye. The morning sun streams through their bedroom windows, casting golden light across a life she still can't quite believe is hers. In the back seat, Mason and Miles argue about whose turn it is to help Grandma Rosa with her physical therapy exercises. Love you, Mom, they chorus as she drops them at school. Mom! The word still makes her heart skip. That evening, they return to the rooftop for Mason and Miles' 7th birthday party. This time, the guest list includes Zara's nursing classmates, Rosa walking with a cane but walking, and even Victoria, who's become an unlikely ally. As the sun sets over the city, Ethan pulls Zara to the railing safely back from the edge. Any regrets, he asks? She looks at their boys, their friends, their life. Only one, she says. I wish I could go back and tell that scared woman working the party that in saving those boys she was really saving herself. She wouldn't have believed you. No, but she would have hoped. Some rescues save lives. The best ones save hearts.